guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make fresh pasta dough. It is so much easier than everybody thinks. It takes just a few ingredients, and fresh pasta dough is an absolute must whenever you're making, homemade ravioli, you name it. But we're going to go back to basics so I can just show you how to make the dough quick and easy. So let's go over the ingredients to get started. You're going to need some all-purpose flour, eggs, extra virgin olive oil, some water, and salt. Those are your magic, crazy ingredients to make homemade pasta dough. So I'm going to do this in my food processor, but you can just as easily do this in a bowl with a wooden spoon. That's it, but I'm feeling a bit lazy today, so I'm doing mine in a food processor. Do not judge. So all I'm going to do really quickly is beat my eggs, just to give them a head start. And in the food processor, I'm going to put in my flour. And this is such an easy, straightforward recipe that you'll see how quickly it comes together. I'm also going to put in my eggs, beaten eggs at this point, a good drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, and this is my grandmother's pasta dough recipe that she has been using for more than since I've been born. I'm 25 now, so probably been using it for her whole life. I mean, it's so easy. And you're going to need a good pinch of salt, because remember, no salt, this pasta dough is going to be so bland. So what I'm going to do now is turn it on, and I'm going to pulse it until it gets nice and like coarse crumbs, which that looks perfect already. I mean, look how simple that is. See that? Coarse crumbs, that's what you're looking for. So now it's time, now it's time to pulse this and add in some water. It's really the same as making pie crust. That looks good, and it's gonna be sticky, so do not fret, do not freak out. It's gonna be sticky, but remember, it's always better to start with a sticky dough and then add flour as you're kneading it than it is to start with a really thick dough, and then you're gonna have to add water to thin it out, and then it's just a mess, and I don't want to bother with that. So just take your sticky dough onto a floured surface. As soon as you take it out onto your floured surface and you sprinkle a bit more flour on top, it comes together in no time. But it's really nice and soft, which is exactly how you want it to be. You don't want it to be, super heavy and dense, and you're going to be able to play soccer with it at that point. It's no longer good. So just knead it for just a few seconds. You knead it by just pulling it, stretching it out. You pull it towards you and you go back. Pull it out, go back. You're going to do that just for a few seconds. Sprinkle a little bit more flour if you feel like you need to. And that's pretty much it. It's simple. It's easy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little bowl here, sprinkle a bit of flour in there so it doesn't stick, and I'm going to put this right in here, cover it with plastic wrap, and let it rest for 30 minutes. I put my dough in the fridge for about a half hour, and now it's perfect. Now what I've done is I've taken a baking sheet and I put some parchment paper on top and sprinkled over some semolina. You can also use some fine cornmeal. It's pretty much the same thing. You could use flour, but I'm trying not to sit the ravioli on the flour, because otherwise when we cook them up, they'll become gluey. Well, whatever you're making with this. Any kind of pasta shape you make out of this. I'm going to make ravioli later, so I don't want my pasta dough to stick. Okay, I'm just going to show you how to pretty much form this dough. It's super simple. I'm just going to flour my surface here, and I'm using my pasta machine, which is just an old-fashioned one that I just stick on here to the side, and I just roll, and it comes out. If you don't have one of those, a rolling pin will do the job just fine. You just need a bit more patience, which, let's face it, it's not one of my virtues, but I'm being honest about it, so I should get some sort of brownie points for that. Okay, now what are we going to do? The dough is going to be slightly sticky, so we're going to have to work with it just a touch. I'm going to flatten this out like a disc. That's perfect. And I'm going to cut this disc into 8 equal pieces. So we're going to go down the middle, down like this, and then just across. See that? It's almost like pizza slices. Almost, but not really. I'm just going to set those on there, onto the semolina so nothing sticks. Just want to take each one and form it into a patty. Now, if you're using a machine like this, you want to just adjust it to the widest setting, okay? And now we're just going to very carefully just pass it through the widest setting, okay? Then I'm going to fold it, pass it through again. And this is pretty much the standard pasta dough method really, when you're rolling it out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it the one right before the white is setting. You want to make sure you keep everything well floured so nothing sticks. And if it sticks and tears, you can just put it back together. It's very simple. And just do it like that. And each time you pass it through another setting, you want to do it twice. Now you just want to adjust your setting so it's a bit smaller and just pass it through. You want your dough to be thin, but not so thin that it falls apart. So just keep working it until you're pretty much either at the last setting or the one right before last. If the last one is just too small, too thin, then you want to just adjust it. That looks good. This is going to be the last one for me. As you can see, it's nice and thin, but it's not so thin that it's unmanageable. I'm just going to fold it in half again, flour it well, otherwise it'll stick, and then we're going to pass it through one last time, and then one sheet will be done. Now this is pretty much it. Now this can be your sheet of pasta. If you're making ravioli, this is what you're looking for, and then you would just fill it, put another piece on top, cut them out, and you're done. If you want to make homemade pappardelle, this is how I do it. I just take out a sheet of the pasta dough, just like so. Make sure everything's well floured because it will stick, and then I just roll it and then just cut big ribbons out of it. And you see, you have fresh homemade pappardelle. And you can cut them smaller, and you can have fresh spaghetti. You can cut them in between. You can have fettuccine. You name it. I mean, this is a very forgiving dough. So whatever you do to it, if it tears, just put it back together with a bit more flour. So again, the options are endless. See, you have beautiful fresh pappardelle that you would just cook up in some boiling water until they float, and that literally takes less than 2 minutes. It cooks very quickly. And that's it. It's simple, it's easy. Now I'm going to continue to roll this out because I'm going to need to make ravioli, and you're going to come and see that recipe in just a little bit. And for now, we're done. You learn how to make fresh pasta dough. It's easy, it's simple. You can make it for lasagna, you can make it for ravioli, you can make fresh spaghetti, whatever you want. You can do it with this dough. That's it. I hope you enjoy spending time with me. To get this recipe and others, go to www.laurenkitchen.com, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.